All right, let's rock and roll.
Let's go.
Give me a second to get a clean start.
Please listen carefully.
What's up, everyone and their sister listeners? Thank you for joining us for a different kind of podcast episode. This is going to be the first installment of a 4-part series called Cristina Reads. I'm the Cristina from the title.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm Natasha.
And joining us for this special series are two friends of the pod and
loyal
friends
listeners
of ours in real life. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Chenise.
And I'm Marina. Hello.
Do you guys want to say anything about yourselves? You want to let people know who you are a little bit?
We're paid to listen to this podcast. It's not the greatest income, but it helps, side hustle.
Yep.
No, we're just really good friends with the girls.
We work with them.
Yeah.
So.
We listen to the podcast every time it comes out. It's always fun. We get
We're forced
shout-outs
to be
every
here.
so often.
I demand shout-outs.
Yeah. That's how
Every
we keep
time
the
we-
friendship going.
Every time the society is talked about, I'm
R.I.P.
there.
Exactly.
I have faith.
But it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks
I
for
basically
joining.
already yell at them when I
That's
listen
true.
to their podcast
That's very
anyway,
true.
so
We're
I'm
just
being
making
like,
it.
I want to yell.
We're just making it so that you're actually having a conversation with us and not forgetting that you're not having a conversation with us
Yes,
as you're
exactly.
listening.
I can debate
appreciate it.
I can debate the points live.
So we brought these guys on because, again, we wanted to do something a little bit different and we need a couple extra people for it. So one thing about me is that I do love reading, but I am surrounded by these people who read so much that I sometimes feel like I am someone who has never picked up a book before in my life. If I get through what I think is a respectable 50 books in a year, these guys are getting like 150, 200. And I'm like, what do I do with my time? How is this physically even possible? So it's like, we get it. They're giant nerds, but they don't have to try this hard. They do, and it's fine. I'm a busy bitch. I have a lot of TV right now to watch, but in the spirit of trying to get up to their Goodreads numbers levels, we decided to try something a little bit different. So while I do like a good romance book, I am also incredibly picky about what I'm willing to pick up and read through, which means I don't actually get into them very often. I live at a very specific intersection of opinionated and judgmental, and that can make it a struggle to listen to other people's romantic decisions and not want to absolutely throw a book across the room. But today I am surrounded by people who go through more romance books than the publishing industry can actually keep up with. Like, if it wasn't for self-publishing, I don't think there would be enough books for them to actually get through in a year. So what we have tasked these guys with today is picking the one romance book that they think absolutely everybody should read, particularly myself, and they're going to present them to me and to you guys, our audience. They'll walk us through what the plot of the book is, a little bit of information about the author, because that's always super important, and why they think this is such an important read. So after they talk about their book a little bit, I'll give them my first impressions of why I'm already like, I'm not going to like this book. But we are all going to take a break after today. We're going to read all these 4 books. I'm going to read them for the first time. Many of these guys are going to read those books for like the second or even third time. And then we're going to come back here in a couple of weeks and we are going to debate it out. I am prepared to come in blazing hot with many questions about certain choices, reasons why I don't agree that their book is something that everybody should read, or just things that I don't particularly like. And they're going to be expected to have to defend that book to the death. Everyone else can choose to agree with the person in defense and stand up for their book, even if it might hurt their book a little bit, or they can choose to side with me because I'm usually right, so they should be. Now, in each episode, we're going to be centered around a certain theme, because I did let these guys know that the most important things to me and the stuff I really want to know about in a book is how strong is the main couple? What is the setting, universe, background characters? How do they contribute to the story? I don't like something that takes place in a vacuum. And finally, and the most important one, what are the sex scenes? Are they good? How steamy are they? What are we talking about? I need excellence, okay? I want to be transported into a moment. And so after each episode, we're going to give our votes for which we thought was the best defended book and which is the book best suited for the title of a book that I should not only read, but have on my bookshelf, and you should too. Now, the person who picked that winning book, when we're all said and done, they actually get to walk away with absolutely literally nothing. There are no prizes, and ultimately nothing matters in this world anyway. So you can consider this a cross between Canada Reads, Whose Line Is It Anyway, and those Real Housewives post shows where everybody's just yelling at each other for absolutely no reason, but they're like super invested in their complete nonsense. We love it.
The reunion
episodes. It's the after the rose ceremony. Yep. How do we feel about the book that was picked? Are they still together? No. So that's the thing we love. That's what we're going to be doing for you guys today. Like I said, it's going to be 4 parts. So there'll be our next 4 episodes, or this episode plus our next 3 are going to be all about this. And we hope you guys like it. So on that note, let's get down to some goddamn business. Steph, what do you have in store for me?
Well, Cristina, my book that oh my God, I'm getting a call right now. One sec. I need to hold it up.
So classic.
Fired.
Did I was like, yeah, someone's calling me. They can call me back.
I think I got that same call.
I'm declining.
Show the number on video.
I don't care. I don't know this person.
Post-production, blur it out.
So, okay, but sorry, Cristina, back to my main point. My book that I picked for you is Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. This is a historical romance novel that was published in 1995. So this book follows Jessica Trent. She is a 27-year-old, technically a spinster if you're going to go by historical romance standards, but she could give less of a shit about that because she just hasn't found anyone that interests her enough to tempt her into marriage. I see you're taking notes. That's fine. When the book opens, we find Jessica newly arriving in Paris to knock some sense into her imbecile younger brother. So specifically, she's trying to get her brother away from the evil, destructive clutches of Sebastian Ballister, the notorious Marquis of Dane, who is, to be honest, he's a bit of an asshole. He's mean, he's rude, and he's rejected all notions of what it means to be a respected aristocrat. So that means no respectable woman such as Jessica would have anything to do with him. But that's fine. He doesn't want to get married. That's the last thing he really cares about. But of course, as all romances start out, Jessica has finally found someone who interests her, and that is the devil himself, Sebastian, the Marquis of Dane, who is shockingly irresistible to her. And it turns out that person, oh, no, I screwed it up. It's fine. Who is shockingly irresistible. And it turns out that the person that she needs saving is not her younger brother, but it's herself. Intrigued? Are you intrigued? Yes. So Loretta Chase's initial inspiration for this book was Beauty and the Beast. This is a retelling in the Regency period. And this book has won many awards. It tops all the romance best lists of all time, basically. She's published over 27 books and counting, and her latest release is going to be coming out December 2020. So many great romances have been published in the last 10 to 20 years, as the other people's books probably are. But to see how far we've come, we need to look at the romances that were first breaking the rules in the romance genre, and that book is Lord of Scoundrels by Loretta Chase. And that is my pick for you.
So if no one has anything to add to that, no one has any initial thoughts, I have a couple. So right off the bat, I mean, here's the thing. I like the idea that, like, this is the book that changed things for romance. I like a trailblazer, a maverick. That's something I can get down with, a little bit of a historical romance, especially with, like, maybe like an enemies to lovers kind of situation. But I have some concerns. First of all, you said the word spinster. Immediately, I'm annoyed.
Those are romance rules. I didn't make the romance rules. I didn't make up that word. That is just the world has made up that word.
Just because it was old doesn't mean that it's okay. The fact that this book is from 1995,
so we're
talking classic romance.
You're gonna have someone from the 18th century being like, "She's just not married. I don't know what that's called. She's just like a woman alone. What is that? What's that word? It's a spinster.
She's independent.
Listen,
it's a spinster.
You can defend it after we've read it and we're seeing it, but I'm just saying right off the beginning, I'm dubious as to the basis of that. All right,
it's just a historical romance.
All these awards, who picked those winners? Who are the deciding factors behind those? Like, I'm glad that it has words, but who do those readers look like? Okay, we're talking about a white romance, white author. I don't know, kind of an old book, and it sounds like lots and lots of toxic masculinity. So I don't know if we're going to be able to live with that, but we'll see. I'll give it a try. You know, you've recommended romance to me in the past, and I haven't hated all of it. So maybe this will be another him.
I'm scared. What did I sign up for?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to come hard. Natasha, can you, I don't know. I feel like I could maybe guess your book. I don't know why. I feel like we're connected in a certain way, so maybe I'm like divining it. But
Spoilers.
I don't love your book.
My book is, spoiler alert, it's by Olivia Dade. It's out actually October 6th of this year. This book is a fun romantic comedy, of course, about a geologist named April who has a secret love for the show Gods of the Gates. So by day, she's a super profesh working woman and all about being the right type of plus-size woman who fits in and doesn't call any attention to herself. But by night, she writes Gods of the Gates fan fiction with her online friends. So really, this story starts with when, after she quits her job for better pastures, she's really feeling herself and she decides to post her Lavinia cosplay to Twitter. Lavinia is one of the characters from Gods of the Gates, because she wants to be more open about who she is as a person and her nerdiness. But of course, this completely blows up in her face and goes viral. And because she's a curvy lady, haters are all up in her business about it, of course. So the actor that plays the other main character, Aeneas, decides to take matters into his own hands and proudly states that he would love to meet her on a date in person. The actor's What a Name. After making that statement online to the world, he does actually slide into her DMs about a date. They do go on a date in person, and of course, hijinks ensue after that. So the author, Olivia Dade, I could say a lot of things about her. I have read quite a few of her other books. She's an absolute delight. She used to be a librarian and a historian before she eventually changed her full-time career to be a romance writer. She currently lives like somewhere outside of Stockholm with her Swedish husband, which is super cute because actually one of the premise of her other books is a Swedish dude is the main character. I feel like it's her story, perhaps. I don't know. But what's really, really unique about her is that you can really tell that romance has been a part of her life from the very beginning. She even talks about how as a kid she used to sneak her mom's romance books, and one of my favorite things that she's ever said in one of her like unofficial bios somewhere is that I get to spend all day writing about love and iron hard lengths. So thank you, Mom, for perving so hard on pirates during my childhood. And that's just everything. What an awakening for her. The reason why I think everybody should really read this romance this year, especially you, Cristina, is because it is one of the most nuanced and least problematic romance books I have ever read. Yeah, I said it. And the reason is it talks about consent in multiple points, especially during the same sexual interaction, because consent can be negated, guys. It talks about how you can love someone beyond what they look like, but you can also love them for exactly what they look like, despite what society's beauty standards are. It talks about kinks and how they're totally normal. Yes, please talk about them. And pleasure doesn't always have to be about the man first. Ladies, respect yourselves. So this book is just super cute, super funny. Everyone's gonna love it. Everyone should read it now.
Well, I gotta say, I love a rom-com. So already, like, I'm actually pretty into this. This sounds like a pretty good book. I love that there is a plus-size heroine, and like maybe it sounds like unabashedly plus size. Like she's not gonna end the fucking book in a road trip eating almonds and grapes and being like, now I can finally be healthy. Like, no. So that sounds good. I'm on the fence about how much I like this or not, the fandom element of it, because on the one hand, as somebody who is in fandom for years, I'm like, ooh, I like that. On the other hand, will I uncomfortably relate to this character? It's possible. I don't know that I need to see myself that much in a main character. So that's interesting. Some possible drawbacks I'm already concerned about is like, he's famous. So like, there's going to be a lot of like, social pressure on her. There's going to be a lot of like views of her from the outside in. Is that going to be fun to read? I don't know. The whole like parasocial relationship idea right now, like, is this going to be a book that launches a million fangirls trying to get dates with their famous celebrities now? Because if he could love her, he could love me too. Like, there's a lot of weird shit going on in fandom and fan culture in general. So like, don't know. If I was a famous person, would I want to be dicking down somebody that had pictured me dicking down like a million other people as part of just what they do in their spare time? Also, you know, if his job is his work and then he comes home and she's like, oh, I'm writing fan fiction of you at work. Like, when do you just get tired of talking about work? You know, when are you just like, oh, I want to talk about something else though?
I mean, I will say they carefully talk about these things in the book.
I appreciate that. I one of the least problematic books is a big claim. I'm excited. I'll be on the lookout now to make sure that that's true.
I have a question. Does she know he is that fan fiction writer?
No, but eventually.
How much?
Okay.
How much catfishing in this? I'm not comfortable with that. That's like a big no-no for me.
So you're saying there's
manipulative.
lying by omission in this book?
Perhaps
Miscommunication?
I think there's some factors that lead to this. I'll defend it later though.
We'll see. But now, not you get it. That's a power imbalance. Don't know how you feel about that. All right, Chenise, what is your book?
Okay. So in significantly less words than these two have talked about, my book is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. And it follows Stella, a woman with autism spectrum disorder, or what's previously known as Asperger's syndrome. She's very good at economics and very bad at sex and relationships. She's convinced basically by the world, who keeps putting pressure on her, that she needs to be better at these things. So she hires a male escort to teach her, a half Vietnamese, half Swedish hottie named Michael. Sounds great. He agrees to help her learn all things sexy times, but what neither of them expected was for their sex lessons to start becoming intimacy lessons. It's basically a gender reverse Pretty Woman, if you need that kind of comp. So this is an own voices story, with a lot of it drawing from Helen Hoang's own experiences, having been diagnosed on the autism spectrum in 2016. So it's gonna be a very personal story. I think it's very different than what's been in the romance industry for a while. I think it really set off a kind of, like, we need more diverse romance books than just like, two white people going at it. It's also a debut, which is very impressive because this book does not feel like a debut at all. The Kiss Quotient is a fantastic blend of sweet and sexy. The relationship that develops between Stella and Michael progresses steadily from physical to intimate, and while it might have some insta-love, not gonna lie, you can really see the connection they're forming and how real it is. This book covers so many topics, but it's integrated in a way that feels natural. Stella's autism never feels tokenized or stereotypical. Helen writes clearly and honestly about why Stella struggles with sex relationships, and you can really tell that the author put a lot of herself into this character. And it makes the reader step into the shoes of Stella to fully understand where she's coming from. This book also dives into a plethora of topics like socioeconomics, cultural differences, consent, self-worth, stigma surrounding mental health and sex work, gendered job reversals, and how sex isn't always sexy. Like, that's huge. How many times do you see that in books where, you're not just going out on a table and it's like amazing. So it's just a love story between two people who get to know each other and want them, to be the best versions that they can be.
Sorry, when you said this was based on her life, I was like, did she too hire a male escort to teach her?
The autism.
I know, and then you got to that line.
I mean, maybe like as far as we know.
I would love to, girl, dive into that. Helen, let us know. She is married with kids, so I don't.
Plot twist.
We gotta look into her husband.
What's his LinkedIn profile say?
Tell us about your love story. Let us know. We're interested.
So I will say I'm mildly hopeful about this book. I like that there's a neurodivergent lead. I think that's really important. I feel like you definitely don't see that a lot. And I actually really like that he is a sex worker as well. I think that's super interesting. But I think it's going to rely very heavily then on making sure it is very respectful to both of those things. Like, I'm hoping because it's an own voices it will be, but making sure that, it seems like a little stereotypical for someone that's portrayed on the autism spectrum to be really good at like hard sciences and math and just really terrible at all social situations. So is the expectation going to be that she has to like change things about herself that are part of her neurodivergence that she shouldn't have to change? Is that what she's trying to do? Or is she really just trying to become a little bit more comfortable with sex with this professional? So that'll be interesting. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that and for the sex work, because I do love that he's a professional. There's probably some things I'll be looking at because, like, consent-wise, when someone gets paid, how's that going to work? We'll see. I am expecting paid for that booty, but I am expecting those sex scenes to be good. So I like, if he's a professional, I want to know that he's getting his coin for a
Dig
reason.
down good.
Exactly. So we need to make sure. So we're going to be heavily auditing those scenes. I want to make sure it's excellent.
Come
so
for
we'll be
it.
looking at those. But like,
No pun
I'm
intended.
hopeful. It sounds, on the surface, sounds really good. I don't love that the name makes me think of math. That's not super hot, but that's a personal thing.
It's a
Math
love equation, okay?
Okay, your book lost. Get out.
I hate math, man. I almost failed, so.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern too. Like, how much math am I gonna have to live with here? As long like I can live with the math of like what's he getting paid per hour, that's fine. But how much are we really gonna dive into this? I know she's like an economist or something. But I'm excited.
Econometrician.
Econometrician. I like that it's not two white people. Like, that sounds good. Because I know is half Vietnamese, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Stella never is really. She's not labeled with any kind of race or anything like that, so. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. I'm interested. It better deliver. I'll be keeping an eye out. All right, Marina. And on that note, what is the 4th friggin' romance book I'm going to have to read in like 1 week?
You don't sound excited. What is this?
It's going to be great. It's a lot, guys.
You're thrilled. You're thrilled. I don't know what you're talking about.
Is this like within your quota of how many books you read in a month?
I mean, normally
year.
I get through like a book a week. So like this is asking me to times that by 4. It's going to be doable, but there's going to be a lot of audio happening. I'm busy.
A busy gal. Okay, so the book that I chose is Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert. Now, just a moment here. Let's take a moment to appreciate this author, okay? She's 24 years old. Stephanie, do you have Goodreads open? How many books does this woman
will look it up for
have
you.
out? Probably
So
like...
many.
Anyway, I slept on her, okay? I slept on this. I only started reading her books when the new craze of like the covers, like the illustrated covers started happening. And this book was like very much...
Quotient was one of them.
She has 22 books on one page, so...
Oof.
And there's 2 pages of that. It's 22...
That's my gal.
22 books.
That's my gal. There you go.
24, that's outrageous.
An accomplished young lady. But yeah, so the reason why this book got on my radar, I think, is because with the craze of like all these covers that are like illustrated, I feel like people are compiling like a lot of lists, like, oh my God, read these books. And this series, the first book in this series, was on one of those lists. It is Get a Life, Chloe Brown? Yes, okay. Which was also great. But I do think that the second book, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, is absolutely special. I would say it is better if you read the first one, but it is a forgiving series. I don't think that you absolutely have to read the first book to read this one. So you'll be fine, Cristina. You don't have to read 2 books just for my pick. So this book came out actually recently-ish. I don't know, time is not a thing anymore in 2020, but it came out this year. And it follows the story of our protagonist, Danica Brown, short Dani Brown, that's what she goes by. Our protagonist is a plus-size, curvaceous, bootylicious, Black bisexual woman. Let's take a pause and appreciate that. She's a TA working at a university. I believe she's doing like her PhD and she's a TA at the same time. And at the start of the novel, she actually already knows our main hero, Zafir. So Zafir works at the university that Danica works at as well. He is the front security for the building. And they have this kind of acquaintances, like, hey, hello, here's a coffee for you type of friendship. And but he's absolutely smitten with her. Like he keeps an eye, you know, like in a crowded room, you always know where that one person is. That's the kind of situation here, okay? So she's friendly with him, but he's keeping eyes. So then one day, this building has like a fire drill, and who gets stuck in an elevator? Danica Brown. And of course, as Zafir comes out and starts counting heads outside, who is the person that he immediately notices is missing? Danica Brown. So he runs into the building looking for little Dani. Finds her in the elevator, saves her from this fire drill. There's no fire here, but she doesn't know. She's hyperventilating. She thinks she's gonna die. So he saves her, and as they come out of the building, he is holding her, bride style, in his delicious arms. Just imagine the scene, coming out of a building that's not actually on flames, but it could have been. It could have been.
You should say he's an ex-rugby player, just so you get that visual.
Yes. Imagine this ex-rugby player, shy, quiet, brooding, but saving the day from this non-real fire. So they come out, and of course, the cameras are ready. This beautiful man is carrying this beautiful woman out of a building not in flames, and then a hashtag is born. What is it? Rugby. So they go viral, and then the story develops from there. I think, personally, that this book is going to be a great contender here, and I think I'm going to win, guys. Sorry, just putting it out there. It has incredible, like, WAP levels, steamy sex scenes. I will put it out there. The body positivity in this book is out of this world for both characters. One of my favorite parts of it is that it touches really nicely on mental health. Zafir, he is a security guard at the school building, but he also has like a side hustle situation going on. He has his own charity that he started. So that touches a little bit on that mental health aspect. That's what the charity works on. So we see a little bit of that. We see Dani really pursuing her dreams in her career. She's really striving to succeed and grow, and she wants to be like a powerhouse name in her industry. So it's really inspiring in that sense, and I found that the characters are still very relatable. It's the kind of book that you read and you can imagine, okay, this could happen in real life. Like, these are not, impossible scenarios. You just have to find a beautiful rugby player to carry you out of a building. But yeah, I think that this book is going to be a great contender here. I am ready to fight for it. I think Cristina is going to love it. Sorry for everyone that's going to lose. And yeah, I hope everyone.
We don't know.
We're about to fight.
You could win for best description.
I see Cristina smiling. Okay, like I think I got this.
Right off the bat, I love the energy that you've come in. I feel it's very aggressive, and I respond to that naturally. I feel like I'm not gonna lie, I'm now a little more biased towards your book because I like the energy you brought for it. Like, I feel like you genuinely believe in this book, and I'm like, well, fuck yeah, then, absolutely.
I just want to preface this by saying that I woke up like 30 minutes ago, so it's true energy.
I have not a lot bad to say about that after that synopsis. A lot of that sounds really great to me because I love that there's a Black lead. I love that both of the main characters are explicitly not white. We love a bisexual lead. Yes, please, always. All right. I love the idea of like on a personal level, I love a friends to lovers a little bit more than I love an enemies to lovers, because it doesn't feel weird to me when they are super into each other, like 4 chapters in, because they have a relationship before the book starts. So like, you've got a lot going for you here, but also my expectations might be the highest for this book over everything else. So
I thought that was for Nat. I thought we've moved past this.
I have high expectations for everything.
Set yourselves up to fail.
I mean, if you're higher, it's going to be a steeper fall for you, I guess.
Yeah, shit. There's a lot to play around with here. I mean, based on everything you've said, nothing sounds bad yet, but who knows what is hiding and lurking in this book. The fact that it's a sequel, like, I know you're telling me I'm not going to have to worry about it, but I am going to feel like, am I missing out on something because I didn't read the first one? Are they going to do the thing that every romance series does, where the people from the couple from the first one come back in as their friends and they have these important conversations?
I mean, it has to happen. It's a romance
for you.
It's in the romance genre. It's gonna happen.
Spoiler for you, Cristina. These couples, they're like the books are all based on sisters, so they will will appear in each other's books.
And that's what I'm saying. As a potential concern for this book is like, am I going to feel like I'm missing out if I don't feel like I know that character fully? Because the idea is you should if you read the first one. Maybe it'll be fine. I'm just telling you, these are my concerns based on what I'm hearing. This
I
already,
appreciate
I'm
your
like,
concerns.
Mine's the first book, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Chenise.
his quotient's got that going for it. It's a debut. I don't have to worry about anything else like clouding up the debut. That could come in handy for it. But definitely, I have the highest expectations now for Take a Hint, Dani Brown. This author sounds really great. This book sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie. I like a lot about it. It's hitting a lot of my buttons, particularly if it's like actively talking about mental health and against toxic masculinity, because that's one of my biggest issues with a lot of romance books. But we'll see, because sometimes they do that, and then when they're actually in bed, it's like, but were you?
Oh, honey, they're on the bed, they're on the table. You'll get it. You'll get it.
So, okay, all of these sound good. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think the person who's going to have the hardest time here is Stephanie, 1000%.
I mean, I'm prepared, okay? I'm going to bring out my educational resources to show you
so
why.
I'll be taking notes.
I'll be citing sources. It's going to be an English essay when I'm talking, okay? We're going to be prepared.
No one likes an English essay.
I don't know that I want university flashbacks, Steph.
You know how I talk. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed.
Okay, smash me.
Are literally any of us? This is what we do with your free time.
I mean, listen, you got to know where you are. You need to know where you're starting from so you can be better. And like,
watch, she's gonna come in and be like the best debater out of all of you. She's gonna make you love this book.
If I was like, Steph is like the underdog here because I know that she can like fight. Like she can debate the shit out of you. And just be like, okay, you're right. I get it.
Also, out of all of us, I believe Steph reads romance the most. So
1000%.
That's true. Yeah.
Steph has
so
seen
she'll
some
have
shit.
cross references.
Yeah, I got to show you the foundation.
I'm like,
the books,
reading that.
Every book you just mentioned, they exist because of this book.
Are you
and
gonna
I'm not
bring
like
just
it's foundational,
but okay.
You'll have to. I'm gonna want references to back up that claim. Please cite your sources. I will be looking. For that.
We just said we didn't want an essay.
Well,
she's
now
gonna have like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. Your thesis
history of romance.
That and
in
not
this
back
essay,
it up.
I will.
A history of romance starting in 1995. Are you fucking kidding me?
I was 3 years old.
Yeah, because you know what was the #1 popular romance book for a long time? Historical romance books. So, hello.
I do love some historical romance.
I'm very intrigued though, because 1995, that was a long ass time
ago. It was a long time ago.
That's how old my brother's
25 years.
25 years. My brother's that age.
Shit, that's what
I'm saying. There's some stuff that's obviously, because it was published in 1995, that's not great. But like what it does well, it does very well. I don't know why I'm fighting about this now. Okay, back on track.
It's not time to fight yet.
It's not time yet.
Marina, you feel super confident. Like I'm getting a lot of confidence from you right now, and I love it.
I can only be confident. My book is the best.
But who do you think is your biggest competition? Not just for book, but for like ability to defend their book.
Oof.
I'm fighting words.
I feel like it's too early for me to burn bridges here.
No, we are burning bridges.
Burn them.
I want bridges burned. Who is your biggest competition?
I'm gonna throw out. I would say all three of you have similar premises for books. In that they're contemporary romance, they're kind of funny.
Is it fake dating? I know, like mine.
Yeah, there is fake dating.
Mine has fake dating.
Pseudo relationship.
I should have bragged about that then.
But
they've all come out. They've all come out in the last 2-3 years. So like it's a similar landscape. Maybe it's gonna be hard to defend stuff if they're similar. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, mine's not fake dating. It's just
catfishing.
It's celeb dating, which is really fake dating. Yeah, catfishing.
Listen,
it's just fake.
See, it's more nerdy fanfic. You'll see.
I better see.
I want to see.
I mean, listen, I don't know that you not having fake dating is actually a good thing, because I love fake dating. Because if I realize that like while I enjoy romance, my ideal romance book more and more is like books that aren't romance that just have a really good romance in them, because I love like an established relationship. I like people who genuinely like each other being in a relationship. And what I love about fake dating is they have to learn how to be in a relationship before they actually are in one. So by the time they actually fall in love, they already know all this shit about like, I love it. I'll eat it up. So like that is making me, knowing that that's in Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and in Kiss Quotient, like that's making me like, all right,
Maybe we should
it's a point
ask.
towards Kiss Quotient for sure.
We should ask what your favorite romance book is.
Yeah.
to date.
Oh,
Give us
you
some
did
background.
not tell me to prepare that answer.
Oh, not us.
Christina,
No, only.
Oh, okay.
Only
Go.
her.
Yeah, where's the bar?
Yeah, like what am I up? Like that's what
You
I'm
should
fighting
have told
against,
us the bar
technically.
before we picked our books. But
That's
anyway,
That's true.
Excuse
Like, what
me,
have you read?
I gave you all the like main things to consider. I gave you main couple, I gave you the universe, and the background characters are super important to me. I gave you all that information, okay?
That's not a cheat code about you, though.
If I had to pick a specific, like this one's more recent, so that's probably why it's on my mind, but Red, White, and Royally Blue is a really, really, really good romance for me. I love the way the characters interact. I think they have that perfect amount of dislike for each other at the beginning that
Helen.
makes for good banter, but it's not that kind of thing where sometimes with like enemies to lovers, I'm like, I would never date someone who said that about me. There's no redeeming.
You're like, you're just
that.
insulting.
Yeah, like I think of Never Have I Ever, and he called her unfuckable, and I'm like, no, like that. There's a line, and the line is unfuckable. Like, Christ.
Forgot about that. Oof. Yeah. No way.
Yeah. Red, White, and Royal Blue has just the right amount of like misunderstanding. The communication struggles aren't there at the forefront, but when they are, they make sense because they're not in the same room with each other. They're only communicating mostly through email. The stakes are really high. That book for me, like the main couple is great. The background and the setting is excellent. Like it feeds that main couple. And I really like what is available in the smut of that. And I like how they make jokes. Like what is the one thing he calls him? Like Prince of Blowjobs or Prince of Handjobs at one point or something like that.
Oh,
Oh my god,
Like I love that. Also, while pining is not normally my thing, handwritten or like writing notes to each other about how much you're pining. Oh yeah, absolutely. So that for me is like a top tier romance. I can't wait to read Casey McQuiston's next book.
Unrelated, but I totally love that party scene where like they all go out
Oh,
to
yeah.
party.
I was gonna say
Nothing
the
to do
only
with anything,
thing
but
I'm remembering is them in a barn, perhaps scene.
oh no, it's a like
What
a
kind
sports
of?
shed or something.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
You
it
know what I'm
is.
talking about? Stuff
Yeah.
goes down.
Oh yeah,
Stuff.
Someone
yeah.
does go down.
And why I think that bodes really well for something like, I will say, spoiler alert and take a hint, Dani Brown, and even the Kiss Quotient to a certain extent is, again, they feel like romantic comedies in that same sense. I do love a romantic comedy. If something's not funny for me, like for me, I think romance is only worth it if you can laugh with each other. So while a book does not need to have that for me to enjoy it, it's certainly a plus for these books that they have it. So Lord of Scoundrels is the book I'm definitely the most worried about because I feel like I'm going to like it the least. But again, Steph has recommended romance to me before that I've actually really liked. I really enjoy the Saria Bowen and Al Kennedy, right? That's who wrote it. Him.
Yep.
I love that
Yep.
series.
Yep.
I will say
So
Steph has been my like romance guru since I've been working
Yeah.
with her.
So I
So
went back to basics,
she's guided
guys.
me.
that's why I
Back
think
to basics.
a dark horse of like, she's picked a book and on the surface you're like, wow, absolutely not.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna surprise
her being
us.
her being able to defend it and her like romance history, I think
Gotta be
I
a
like
classic
she
for a
pulled it
reason,
out.
right?
Exactly. But I really don't want to have this book on my bookshelves. My bookshelves are curated. So
Okay.
that's also gonna matter.
I mean, if it has a spot in your e-reader, I would say that's just as good. Can never delete that. It's gonna be there forever. You know what I mean?
I can
So-
never
It's in your archive,
remove, download.
No, it's still there, still in your
lurking in the
archives.
background in the archive.
I have to make a whole new Kobo account. This
To get rid of it.
Throw the whole thing out. Start over.
All right, so that's our first episode. We hope you guys like it. We will be back for you guys next week. For us, a couple weeks from now, I'm gonna read all of these books. Everybody else is gonna read them again, and I'm gonna come in with some blazing hot questions about the main couples, everything about the couple that I didn't think, and this is gonna come up a lot. What did I not think was a sign of a healthy relationship? Because a lot of these romances, they come for that, okay? They come for the idea of a healthy romance, and they do not fill out what it should be. So I can't wait to read them. Somehow in this course of like a week, there's going to be so much audiobooks. We'll come back. We'll talk about the main couple. We'll see who is the best debater so far for that episode. We'll take a vote, and then we'll come through and we'll talk about the rest of the episodes to figure out what was the one book that was actually worth me reading. And so what is a book that you should absolutely read? Because if I can like a romance book, that means that it is excellent.
It's me. It's mine.
You were the only one that put the work in to be like, it's literally my background.
Listen,
I am
have no
loving the background.
creativity. I can't do that shit. Okay.
You have a cat behind you. You're fine.
Let us know who you think's gonna
Penny's
win.
doing all the work. Yes.
Place your own bets.
Wait, can you say now?
Place your own bets on who you think's gonna win. Let us know. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Pinterest. Let us know.
You
Mine
can
just
find
came
us.
out, so it'll be a little bit hard for you, but just trust.
Yeah, I mean, there was also something that, like, the effort that we all had to do to make sure that we all had a copy of this book that we can start reading was something. This book is not out at the time of this recording. But yeah, like Steph said, you can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at EatsCast, on Pinterest at Everyone and Their Sister Pod. There are two ways that you could be listening to this right now. You could be watching it on YouTube, because we decided we would try to do this on YouTube for the first time. We thought that facial reactions would be incredibly important. And so we all woke up really early to put on makeup, and you
Some of
better
us woke
appreciate
up
it.
early.
If
I'm
you
sorry.
are early, if you are watching on YouTube, we recommend you check out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, the Everyone and Their Sister Pod, where we get together every week and we talk about a different book, movie, or TV show based on a certain theme that we just absolutely loved. So thanks so much, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
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 Yeah.
Bye.
All right, now I can wash off this makeup.
My nose is
God.
so
You're still
itchy.